G'day. I'm just out here tinkering. Don't know if I've got much to share, to be honest. It might be one of those live streams that we go in 10 minutes and that's enough. Yeah, who am I kidding? Hey everyone. Hope everyone's okay. Someone's in hospital. Mark Osborne's in hospital. You're right, Mark. Hope you're okay. Speaking of hospital, Paddy sent a note saying that he'd heard from Rustanox. If you're watching this, Rustanox, if you're okay, we're all thinking of you and hope that you're on the mend. It sounded like you were still a bit ordinary, but we're thinking of you, so I don't know if that counts or anything or whether it's going to make it worse, but wanted to pass that on. Thanks. Thanks, Paddy, for letting us know. There's a whole lot of you in there, and there's 18 names, it says 21 names. Let's see if we can get them all. I'm going to change this to live chat because it goes to top chat and I only get half of them. Who's here? Wazza, Uncle Bob's Bees, Casual Steel. Joe Durder, Stuart Hingston, Mark Osborne, Dan Shedd, who sent me always sends me a message saying I'm late. I wasn't late, I was right on time. Stomach ulcers no fun at all. AIDS Workshop, g'day. Knackler's Workshop, g'day. Craig's Workshop, g'day. I'm up to about 10. Stuart Hingston, that's 11. Peter Noddle, that's 12. Brendan Gill, that's 13. Paddy, that's 14. Go Create. Nigel, g'day, that's... Williams Van Sant, that's... John Creasy. There's a lot of them. Anyway, that's the ones that are sort of jumping up and down saying stuff. So there you go. Gosh, it's hot here. It's been about 38, I reckon, here this afternoon. Out of the shade, it's been pretty warm. At Celsius 38. Oh, what's that? 110, 112 or something in black and white measurement. Someone can work that out for me. Haven't got a clue. It might be more than that. I'll zoom that out again, sorry. So it's pretty warm. And what have I done? Not a whole lot. Dan says 40 here and humid, just had a really good rainfall. That'd be nice. Some rain would be awesome. Not going to happen here, I don't think, this week. So I've been messing on this, and there's 3 parts of a Patreon video in some detail about what I've done this week. But the other part I haven't really shot yet because I'd hoped to have the thing running. And I'm going to move this camera back, so excuse the shakes. We'll try that. Hey Mike. So basically you got the electric sorted. We've got some decent wiring. We've got a spark plug wire, a new terminal for the spark plug. We've got terminals through the stainless steel base. We've got the stainless steel base on nice, everything bolted up. We've got timer wire on here through another terminal. We've got the pump in place and bolted up. We've got a muffler pipe out the front here that needs a muffler on it at some point when we get it going. We've got some pipes on the pump. Hey Maddie, good to see you. So it looks good, if nothing else. It's another thing that's we know is reliable. There's the list of things that we know that the problem isn't is getting to the point that it's longer than the list of things that the problem could be. So that's always a good sign. The radiator will sit here nicely like this. This pipe goes on here to this port. We'll put a filter in here. This pipe here comes down into the top. So we've got a recirculation system. We've got a drain tap here. You can see that just. Little tap, if we swing that out of the way, that's open there. Can you see that? There's a tap there for drain, which may or may not get used. It'll probably leak. Probably end up putting a plug in it. So we got timing and everything. Loud pipe save lives, Warren says. Hey Tom. We've got a switch here, which is on. And if we kick it over then, we've got a spark there, which is right on top dead. Might be 3 degrees, something like that, 2 degrees before. However, when we hook up gas, it won't fire till about there, and then it fires. So the problem is that the thing's not getting any gas. It's not until you get that final suction there, and it's starting to suck, that we get anything at all. So we've got wiring. We'll have a look inside this box. because we can sit this over here against those two dowels and lift this up, I think, without spilling too much water or oil. I don't know if you can see much inside there. It's looking at the roof, sorry. We've got a battery there. Hang on. It's not really a one-handed job. We've got a loose connection here on the GoPro. There. We've got a buzz coil here. We'll zoom this out. Slide it around here. I think. There we go. We've got a buzz coil here, which has got 3 terminals to set it all up. We've got an earth wire. We've got a timer wire, which goes through 2 plastic knobs here. One there and one there through here. And we've got a battery over here in the corner that just lifts out. We've got a 10 amp fuse on the negative side, and we've got a switch. So this all just sits here on the 4 dowels, which I think is plenty good enough at the moment. And that's how that looks. I can't keep up with the chat. Yeah, congrats to Matt for 1,500 subscribers and an awesome build on that optical center punch. Really enjoyed it. Where'd you find the tiny iron pipe? eBay. It's actually stainless steel, but the elbows are cast. So I'm pretty pleased to find that. It's 1/8, I think, 1/8 size pipe with an elbow. I'm probably just going to put a pepper pot muffler on here to stop some of the noise and some of the sparks and to stop the flame shooting out. We'll see how noisy it is. If it is noisy, we'll put something a bit more ornate on there, but at this point it's probably going to get a pepper pot cover with some holes in it, something like that, just to keep the cobwebs out. Hey JB, congrats JB on the building permit. Rustnox, good to see ya. Hope you're on the mend. I'm guessing you're not feeling particularly good, but I hope there's a little bit of improvement in the next few weeks. That's where I'm at with that. I really do hope that you come right. We do miss you. So there we go. If I hook gas up to this, it fires every couple of times. The problem is that the thing's not getting gas and it's not getting the right gas mixture. There's no Venturi in here and I'm not sure what to do about that. I think maybe this hole here in the bottom that the air's coming through might be a bit big and we're not getting the suction we could, but it's sort of critical to make this system work. It's critical to get the hole in the intake manifold right and the ball bearing the right weight and the gas flow right and the gas pressure right, and that's way too many variables for me. There's a printer in the background. Yeah, there usually is. It's going. Yes, some awesome bits from Stephen Lang. It's awesome. Some awesome videos. Really enjoyed some of those. Enjoy all your videos. I'm only halfway through Chirpy's latest. I watched Nigel's. I didn't leave a comment because I think I fell asleep. Yeah, it's... Didn't see Dan Shed. I didn't see his latest video, but I'm not sure what's happening there. So the problem's gas flow, and the regulator I've got is substandard. If I leave the spring in it, it gives me about 18 to 20 inches of water pressure, which is way too much. A few people have said you want about 3 or 4, or 2, 3, 4, something like that. And if I take the spring out, I get about 2.5, 3 inches, which is okay, but there's no adjustment on it, no fine adjustment at all. So I shortened the spring up so I could adjust it, and it's really not ideal. So I think I'm going to have to get some sort of a zero pressure governing, like a decent regulator. I think I'm going to spring some money on a regulator to run it on gas. And I think that we're going to make another one of these manifolds with a pipe out this side and put a carburetor on it. As much as we hate to do that because it messes up the original design, and I really did want to get this going to the original design, but I've never seen one running on the original design, and gas that this was meant for is no longer available. It's meant to run on town gas or producer gas, and LP is completely different. So I think we need to block this up where this tap comes in. We need to put an elbow on here. We need to put a decent carby on here with a needle valve, and we need to run gas through that or run it on white spirit or something like that with a tank, and just see if we could get the thing running. That's my thoughts. I don't think I fell asleep in Nigel's bed. If we're going to go there, I didn't fall asleep during the video. I watched the video and I was sitting on the couch and I was maybe something happened. Anyway, I didn't manage to get up in time to leave a comment. Put it that way. So, try with brake cleaner. I'll try with some ether and see what we go. I'll get some ether and give it a squirt and see what we end up with. See if it runs with ether. If it does, if we can get it to fire with ether, like fire properly so that it fires a couple of times, which is all it needs to do, I'm going to be pretty happy. And from there we'll work out something with the fuel system, because I'm pretty sure that's all it is, but I'll get some ether tomorrow. As far as spark timing, if we turn this over so that it just opens, give you some sort of an idea. It's compression. Oh, come on. That's compression. Well, hang on. Get this around here where you can actually see it. There, try that. So compression. And it should open, it'll start opening about there, which it does. It's starting to move just there, which is about 5 degrees before. Now that stays open till there. So it might be a fraction forward on the valve timing. Not sure about that. 5 degrees I wouldn't have thought made a lot of difference, but maybe it does. But from all the books I've read and all the information I've got, valve timing on it's pretty close. And spark timing on it's pretty close. Cam timing is too advanced. So what have we got? Let's just recap that again, right? That's compression. This is power stroke. I reckon it's too advanced. I reckon it's too... It could be too advanced. See, this really wants to... It's just moving there, right on top, on bottom dead center. It probably wants to be about 5 degrees before. And it wants to go to... It just stops moving about there, which is about... It might be 10 degrees after. I don't think it is. It's probably 5 or 6 degrees after. So marks on the flywheel, that's about what I've got. So, there we go. That's the progress on this thing. We have got the base pretty well finished. Everything looks nice and tidy. Really pleased with it. Spark's all working. We might mess around with the timing either way. To be honest, it should fire. 5 degrees timing difference is probably going to, I would imagine, is only going to change the way it runs, or its top speed and its ease of starting maybe, but I think it's timed right. I think it's just not getting gas. It's as simple as that. It's just not sucking gas through there because there's no Venturi, there's no proper carby, there's no way of actually pulling the gas into the cylinder, and that's where the problem is. So I think probably a modification with another elbow on this manifold out here at about 45 degrees and a decent carburetor, and we'll see if it goes. A few people said to try bubble carb, and that probably would work just with a glass jar and a couple of pipes in it. Yes, that would probably work. We could try that. But if it's not getting gas through here, it's not going to get petrol fumes either, I wouldn't think. So that's where I'm at. I'm really not sure whether that's going to fix the issue. But anyway. It looks like it's going to go, and it looks like it's finished, and it looks like it should work. It's got what I would think to be enough compression to start. It's got, I think it's certainly got enough spark to start. I pulled the buzz coil apart and cleaned all the contacts in it and got it running nicely and got it so that we've got a pretty decent sort of a hum out of it. And we're getting the spark on this terminal. We're also getting the spark on the spark plug if we take it out. So, to my mind, the only thing it can be, and the only thing that's really left, is the bad carburation system. And we say bad carburation system, because there isn't one. It's completely missing in the instructions. And if we have a look at any of these vintage, like turn of the century model engines that were mostly designed to do a job of work in the workshop, and there's quite a few of them, and if you look at the first video in this series, I looked at quite a few of them before I decided on this one. But most of those engines have absolutely no information about carburetors at all, not even a little bit. Nothing. So whether it was a gap in people's knowledge, or whether people just expected that you already knew that and we've lost that knowledge, or whether it was expected that you bought one off the shelf and it worked, or whether, I'm not sure. But there seems to be some information. Yeah, Paddy, it hasn't even got a needle valve on it, so there's nothing there. It's basically the system's missing. All you've got is this tap in the side for gas. It's supposed to be, and this bulb, which I guess has a double function really. It's supposed to limit the amount of gas that comes out into the atmosphere, and it's sort of a safety feature. And it's also, I think, supposed to limit the amount of air that sucks through. But it's a bit fussy. It really is. There's no telling whether we need a smaller ball, or whether we need a heavier ball, or whether we need a smaller opening, or whether it just needs a choke on it, or whether it's no good at all. But what I'm going to do probably is unscrew this tap, put on the carby, and put a proper carby in here with a gas pipe to suck from the bottle, and we'll try that. But it's going to take a bit. So, video from Machine NZ this week. Haven't watched it yet. I'm sorry, it's after live stream job. I've been trying to get there all day. Just hasn't happened. It's too hot to do anything. Stephen says, is the intake valve opening on the intake stroke? Yes, absolutely. Take this off here. You can hear that there. It's not opening a lot. A weaker spring on this doesn't fix it, and a stronger spring on it really doesn't fix it either. So this seems to work the best. I'm wondering if we've got as much travel as I would like on there. But generally these sort of engines only have a tiny little bit. There's only as much as it needs. So if we're only sucking through there, it's got to be sucking somewhere, and that's where it's coming through. But I'm not sure whether it's sucking gas or whether it's sucking air. Either way, I get the same result, because it won't fire because the mixture's wrong. So it could be that it's sucking gas. Although when we turn it over and put gas on it and put a spark on here, we were yesterday getting a flame, like with a lighter on the exhaust when it comes off the compression stroke. to the exhaust stroke, and the cylinder gases go out through here where we're getting a blue flame. Today we're not, because we've messed around with the gas flow again. So we're not getting anything off here this afternoon, unless we turn it over quite a lot of times. So I'm suspicious that it's either getting too much air or not enough air, and there's no real in between. So I think I'm going to pull this manifold off here, put a new pipe on it, and probably with a bolt-on flange for a carby, and just a carby with a venturi and a needle valve. Whether we make something with a fuel bowl or something like that that it's supposed to have back then, but there's no drawings about anything, and I haven't managed to see very many vintage carburetor drawings that don't pose more questions than they answer. So there we go. That's true. A little carby off a nitro engine would probably be alright. It looks a bit crap, but it's probably a plunger style, like a plunger style throttle carby, or just a... But all it really needs is a venturi and a needle valve and a jet. Because at this point we don't have that sort of control with this tap. It's just not working. Looks good on paper, it's not. So everything's working as well as it can. I've been through everything time and time again. I've been through the timing, I've been through the spark, I've got the spark good, I've got compression pretty good, I've got valve timing right, I've got, I think, everything right except gas. And while this looks like a good system on paper in the book, it's really not. There's no information in the book at all on running this engine, on what to do. And while I have some information from the Stewart 800, which is the bigger brother of this one, it's still a very sketchy paragraph about using a demand regulator. Not much information. So, and the 800 at least does have proper gas control valves and things. So I'm about ready to say that this system as it is won't work, and can't make it work. So I think the next thing will be to probably modify this manifold and put a carby on it, whatever we find. A nitro carby is a great idea. However, I don't know which size to get. I don't know very much about any of it. What I'm probably going to do is get a bit of brass and put a center drill in each end and cross drill it, and put thread in the bottom for a jet and a thread in the top for a screw and a T for a pipe and a choke on the end. So that's about what I'm going to do. Hey Dennis, good to see you. Can I swing this lead around so you can see the face of the head a bit? I'm going to shift this, which is my gas supply system at this point. Realistically, it doesn't work. Alright, let's pull this around. Here, we'll take this off. We'll move this up here. If you really want to see. That's a nice pump though, by the way. I'm really impressed with that. Let's try and get this here. So that's what we got. There's the head. Coleman's fuel is probably the best if we're going to get it running on petrol. Good to see you, Matt. I have the book, Nigel. If you're building that engine, you're crazy. I'm not going to mince words. It's unbelievably brave project. Yeah, it's sort of must be a Scotsman thing, I guess. I don't know. It just seems I'm a little bit incredulous that anyone would even attempt that. There's a phenomenal amount of very small parts all the same, and that just blows my mind. So distributor initiates the spark. How does it work on this engine? Yeah, the buzz coil clicks on the timer here, which is, I'm going to adjust this again. There's the timer switch, which is here. This screw here adjusts the ignition timing forward and back. It's quite good. It's got a spark through here and an insulated cam, so that completes the circuit through there and turns the tremolo coil on and off. So that's how that works. We're way out of the here. Try again. So that's what we got. It's a very simple arrangement. It's just that there's 1,000 pieces and they're all like 5,000 pieces probably, and they're all sort of made in batches of 18 or 36 or whatever it is. It's crazy. I love that project, and I would be really very, very impressed anyone who built one and made it work. And if anyone can do it, it's Nigel. So I hope we see some videos about that at some point. But same time period, and there's really no carburation system on the BR2. It's just got a needle valve and a slide valve. And it's either stopped or started. There's no actual throttle governing or anything like that on it. So it's interesting that until about the First World War, there wasn't a whole lot of like good, reliable carburation and fuel systems. You look even motorbikes like the Didion and some of those, like the Didion tricycle and some of those, they never had. The Didion still had a vapor carby or a bubble carby, and not very much else. Take care, Casual. About 50cc, Mark. How good is the head gasket? Pretty amazing, actually. This is PTFE sheet. Really impressed with that. I don't think there's any bubbles. I've given it a spray with some water. It's not leaking anywhere that it needs to, so, or it doesn't need to. I'm really, but soapy water, and it's good. There ain't no leaks in the head gasket. That's one thing I know it's good. Well, it could. It's just diaphragm carbies and things like that. Yeah, they sort of work, and I don't know. I don't think it's a huge hardship to make a carburettor that certainly performs a little bit better than this. And there's thousands of designs of modern model engine carburettors that work. It's just that this predates any of those by 10 years or 15 years. But the next, or the first thing will be to get some sort of a port on here that we can connect something to. So that's the next, is to put this on here and make another elbow like this that points out here. And then block this one off with a plug. We've got a plug somewhere that will go straight in it. And put the carby out here. Yeah, not much change, Fridge, that's right. It's, I guess, but the thing is that there's nothing in any of the Model Engineer magazines before about 1930 on carburettor systems. It wasn't until Westbury and some of those guys come along with high-speed racing engines and actual systems to make them work, that there are any model designs at all with any of these accessories or any of these parts actually published. As far as ignition systems, there's really not very much even today. So what's changed? Probably. Something I really want to get away from. I mean, Coleman lantern fluid's probably all right here in the shop, but I really want to get away from petrol. I don't want to run the thing on petrol because it lifts paint like nobody's business and it stinks and it's inside. So I really don't want to do anything with petrol or liquid fuel if I can possibly avoid it. So gas seemed like a good option, and it probably still is, but it does need a carburettor. No carby, JB. John Mills got one. Actually went to his Magneto friend who has emailed me a few times. That hasn't got any information at all on it. Hasn't got anything at all as far as carbies or manifolds or anything else. It's missing. So nothing on that one. I've seen these with the carburettor on here, like a proper Venturi carburettor here with a needle valve and this blocked off. I've also seen a manifold that's the same as this on both sides. so that the carby goes on the front here, which seems like a more sensible idea. I've seen one with a thread and an elbow, so that it's got an updraft carby in here as well, or a vertical carburettor with a valve in sideways, which probably works too. If we were to drill that and tap it out to put the carby in that way up, that might work as well and look pretty good. But the reality is that it's not going to work how it is, because there's too many variables in the gas system. And you can get it to fire every time sometimes, and sometimes you can't get it to fire at all. And sometimes it gives me a healthy flame out here when I light the exhaust with a lighter and burn the piston gas, the cylinder gases. We get a violent orange flame. Sometimes we get a blue pop, and at that time it'll fire. And sometimes we get nothing, and it's just too many variables. With gas, even the length of the pipe on here before the demand valve will make a difference to the way it runs, so it's a bit fussy. There's a couple of videos of them running. One of them's got an A-mill on it that I've seen. Another one's got something very similar on it, so a lawnmower carby from the 40s or 50s. So there we go. Hey Bill, good to see you. Have I checked that the spark plug is sparkling? Yes, the spark plug's definitely sparking. Good blue spark on the spark plug with a decent gap. Really impressed with that. Fairly confident about that. How many head bolts? 1, 2, 3. There's one in under here as well. Not just 2. So 3. So I'm subject to changing my mind. I'm pretty confident that it's just gas mixture. I think that's all that's wrong with it. I really do. And while there's 4 or 5 different variables that keep changing, there's no way that you can confidently regulate the gas supply to make a change to make it run better or start better. You just can't do that. While it could be the diameter of the ball, or it could be the hole here, it could be the position of the tap, it could be the length of the pipe on the demand valve, it could be all sorts of things that make a difference. And changing any of those things makes a difference. And changing 2 of them at once completely messes with your mind. So process of elimination, going through everything time and time again. I've gone through this, I've held a finger over there for a choke and it fires a bit better sometimes. Just you go again and again and again and again, and it just doesn't get any closer, because there is no regulated, reliable system of delivering the same amount of gas into this cylinder every time you turn it over. It's just not there. Haven't used the starter spray yet. That's a job for this week. Sounds like Beck to me. G'day. Hey Russell. So I've spent 2 years on this engine, getting it to this level, getting it to that point that it looks like an engine, and all the systems work except the gas system. Some of them took a bit of messing around with. The valves and the compression took a lot of messing around with. Someone made a comment that it sounds like it's blowing past the cylinder here. It's not. If it is, I don't know why. because piston ring gap on this is less than a thou now. It's about a thou and a 3.9 or something of a thou. It's quite 2 parts of stuff all really, and they're as close as I could get it, and I'm suspicious if it gets hot it's going to seize, or at least tighten up and stop. So at this point they're as good as I can get. I'm fairly confident with the 2 rings on there that it's not blown back past. It could be, but I don't think so. We're not getting pressure out of here or here on the exhaust valve, on the compression stroke anymore. So I'm pretty confident these valves are right. We've got a big fat blue spark on the spark plug. So I think that system's right. If the coil's no good and we're not actually getting a spark when they're under compression, there's something wrong. But I don't believe that to be the issue, because it's only a fairly low compression motor, and it seems to have a pretty good spark. Timing seems to be, by Dyke's Encyclopedia or any other book, or numerous model engineering model books, and quite a few people I've talked to have given me information from vintage stationary engine books. It's within a couple of degrees the timing. It's sparking right on top dead center, so that should be okay too. So I believe that all the other systems are right. We've just got to re-engineer this. There we go. That's what I think. But building it up and playing with the gas is okay, because I'll get it running, but there's no way I'll do the same again without doing exactly the same again. It won't start reliably, because there's too many variables that are too easily moved or adjusted. The gas regulation on the cylinder, on the bottle with the needle valve, is just unreliable, and this tap here can't really be set accurately, and I don't think that, while we might get it started, we're going to need a better system so that we can get it started the second time. TIG welding regulators is pretty good, but from experience, welding regulators don't really like gas that's not welding gas. Run CO2 through an oxygen regulator at some point and screwed it up. So I'm a bit wary about that. But a proper low pressure LPG regulator with a needle valve, like a 0 to 2 psi adjustable one, would be great if I can find one, but I've got no idea where to even look. Um, 20 horsepower Austral belted to my 1922 Deering tractor. Went but took some time. You have to get it organised mixture right. Yeah, I need to get it so that when it does go, we can turn it off and it'll go again, because at the moment it won't. If I disconnect the gas supply and put it away and get it out again next time, it's going to be all over the show again. So we need to fix this. And the simplest way is just put a Venturi carby with a decent choke on it and a needle valve. And I think that's got it. Bill, we will talk to you about that. Yeah, I haven't got enough hands, JB, is the problem with this. Yes, we can sort of regulate it a little bit, but it's not just pressure, it's flow. And the needle valve will drop the pressure off, but it'll also drop the flow off, so we're not actually getting any gas out of there. What we need is quite a bit of flow or quite a bit of volume of gas at a fairly low pressure. So gas from a rubber balloon rather than gas from an LPG tank, I guess, is where we're at with that, if that's an analogy that works. We need a reasonable amount of gas so it'll suck it. Are we back? Are we here? I think it's my internet's dropping out, and I'm sorry about that. Anyway, take care, Tom. I think it's my internet that dropped out just then, and I'm sorry about that. I had to reconnect. Anyway, good to see you. We've been an hour with this, and we really haven't resolved anything. I'm just giving you some sort of a heads up of where we're at with it. But the thing, at least, is self-contained, and we can lift it around and it's nicely presented, and we know everything's working. We can clean up the world without making a mess, and we can see where there's problems, etc, etc, etc. But we do need to take this manifold off again and modify it, I think. Either design an updraft carby or put an elbow on here, which would be a better deal, with a carburetor out here and probably air cleaner on it, or a car choke assembly or something. I don't know. We'll see, just something that looks nice on the end. So there we go. There is a special automotive LPG gas valve that is used for cars. They're about 140 bucks. That would probably make it work, or it probably wouldn't. So I'm not going to probably spring for one of them, but I will build a carby that works. And I think from there it should probably, everything should work nicely. Anyway, who wants to see what else I got this week? We've sort of overdone on this. I'm ready to put this away. Crap, it's heavy. Ooh. Hey, Greg. Because people ask some difficult questions. Ashtray. Got a new wheel center, tapered wheel center for the D-bit grinder for the other wheel. That come this week. So it's pretty exciting. I've sort of put it on there. I haven't actually put this wheel back on the thing, and I'd like to get a couple more of these for another wheel as well, maybe at some point. And probably a thin cut-off style wheel, so that I can... There's a couple of jobs I'd like to do with something like that. But anyway, got one of those. That's something that's happened this week. Matt is probably still in shock as far as his crazy grinder project. You know, I don't blame him at all. It's kind of feel like he's taken one for the team there, because someone in this circle has got to build at some point a corn tool cutter and grinder, and it ain't going to be me, because I ain't going to live long enough. So might as well put some pressure on Matty to do it. Other jobs. I'm working on a 3D print job, which is going to be a couple of videos on my other channel. Now, there is another channel, and I don't know, everyone probably knows this. I made a bit of a decision that some of these 3D print projects, and that 3D print is awesome, and it goes, I'm really a bit sold on it compared to anything else I've ever seen. It's fantastic. It goes 24/7. It stopped today because it got so hot. But there's a growing pile of parts that I've shot a bit of footage on, and it's going to go on my other channel when I get some editing done, etc, etc, etc. And I spent most of some of the afternoon anyway, after I got sick of that stationary engine, editing stuff up. So expect a video on that channel in the next week or so. Whether it's to everyone's taste or even interesting, I'm not even going to tell you what it's about, but it might be cool. But yeah, if anyone can, Maddie can. That's exactly right. It should be the motto. Has the camera gone out of focus? Probably. It's probably got a fingerprint on it, and I apologise for that. No, Maddie's up for it. If he's got time and he lives long enough, he'll be good. The articles in Model Engineer and the Corn Grinder went on forever. That's right. It was like Professor Chaddock. Yeah, there was a book published about it, but it seems like they went on for about 15 years. I guess that's an exaggeration, but whenever you looked at Model Engineer, there was an article about it. It was a big project. John Creasy, there you go. Something I know that you didn't. You can replace these. This just comes off on it's on a taper, and it's got a grub screw in the middle to break it. So rather than undo this nut, you can break the taper with the Allen key or wrench and take this hole off, so you don't have to rebalance the wheel every time you put it on. That's the theory. So these are available. They weren't all that expensive. It's probably not a huge job to make some. I expect Craig to make some. He's promised to do a video about that. But that is the arbor, and it's on a taper there, so it should always run true when you put it back together. So there you go. Reach on the wheel isn't a big deal. It's not. No. It's not. So Mark Foster's made one. That's awesome. What RPM does a deep beat grinder run? That's a really good question. Fast. Absolutely no idea. Someone might. John Creasy might know. Haven't got a clue. But anyway, that's something that come this week. I've bought a heap of bolts this week too. I've got a bag of rags. How cool is this? Now, a 10-kilogram bale of rags. They're all vacuum pressed in there pretty hard. I think they're put together with like a I don't know how they're baled, but they're like maybe like a hay baler. I don't know how this works. If anyone knows how a rag baler works, let me know. But they're in there pretty tight, and this is all coloured t-shirt material. Now, I believe that these come from India, and there's been problems with shipping. That's why we haven't been able to get them. Now, that's a bit bizarre, because I wouldn't have thought India was the place to go for basic laundry services. I just didn't occur to me that that might be how it is, but there you go. So washed in the river of Varanasi and put on a slow boat to Australia, we have rags. Fairly confident that's not what happened, but I would have thought they were sourced locally, but they're not. And I had trouble getting them. So I've got 10 kilos of rags, which is the first time for about the shop rags, which is t-shirt material, for the first time in about 6 or 8 months that I haven't had to fish around and try and find a t-shirt I didn't need any more to cut up for rags. They could be local. I don't know. That's just the story I heard. So it would seem to me that they were local. And nobody in their right mind did produce or bring eggs in when they can't sell clothes at op shops. So not sure. It makes more sense that they would come from op shops, but I'm not sure. I'm nearly confident of 5,200 RPM. Thanks, Warren. Fairly confident they don't come from India. Well, if they do, they're not washed in the Ganges at Varanasi, because they'd be mouldy by the time they got here, or haven't grown legs and walked off. Anyway, not much else. Not much else. Time must be nearly up. Work again tomorrow. I had today off, and what have I done? I've cranked that engine until I got sick of it. I did a lot of video editing, which is pretty cool. Don't know if I achieved anything at all or got any closer. I do have a Patreon video that's about half done, and I would love to have some sort of some footage of the engine running on the end of that video, but I don't think that's going to happen, so that might just go up as it is, or with a few improvements or mods. I'm not sure. We might make a new manifold and have a bit of a look at that and put on it as well. I don't know. We'll see where we go this week. Good for cleaning the windows. Dustless surgical cloths. Okay, I don't watch a whole lot of Adam Savage, but anyway, that's where we're at. I've got a clean bench here, which is amazing. RC car update. RC car update. No real progress. Waiting for filament and some RC bits. We've got batteries and a speed controller and a motor. Still sort of wondering whether I'm going to use old high-tech radio or whether I'm actually going to upgrade it for $50 to buy a new one, which seems like a more sensible option than messing around with 40-year-old technology that needs at least that much spending on it to get it going. So might just bin the high-tech or put it on eBay for $15-20 and buy a new Traxxas or something that's mid-range for about 60-70 bucks just to get it running. So that's the updates on the RC car. Updates on the Stuart Turner Progress, which is over there in that corner, is nothing, but probably a couple of nights will make a big difference to whether that run is running or not. There's not a lot of work left in that, so I'm going to have to get in and make another video, I think. No excuses on that. I mean, probably get a Bluetooth thing that works on your phone too, but then you've got to, yeah, that sort of works. Stick to basic technology, I think, for now. Anyway, it's all a learning curve, and the new channel is going to be all about that and about those sort of projects, some other 3D printing projects, probably some CAD work if we could make it so it's not completely boring. Still printing prototypes of this Goswinner indicator box. Still another, I think the final prototype's about ready to print, and we'll see how it looks. I might do that this week too. Anyway, take care, Mike. Good to see you. Keep getting better, Rust Knox. That's exactly right. Surgery at home's not the thing. That's fair enough. I'm going to sneeze, sorry. It's not the corona. Anyway, I'm going to probably call this because I've run out of things to talk about. I need another drink. Try and get some sleep and go to work tomorrow. And probably come home with enough enthusiasm to start that new manifold and carby for the engine, I think. So that's where we're at. Trying not to get the Rona at this point. No one else in Queensland's got it, so we should be pretty right. We'd have to be unlucky. Anyway, take care. Good to see you all. Thanks for checking in. You all got a video that you put out. You should upload, or you should post a link. I mean, it's not bad manners to post a link in the chat. We all love to see it. Don't leave it all up to Craig. Anyway, I might be on Discord for a while. There's Discord server. There's a whole link to all those things down in the description box when the live stream finishes. There's a Discord server. There's yeah, it's all happening. We're quite a little community, and I really appreciate that. It's been awesome. So I'm out. Take care. Be kind to each other, and don't buy a horse, eh? We'll catch ya.